Hello and welcome to a new video. In this one I'm going to be going through some weapon stats and opinions on the new DLC weapon, the Farquhar Hill. Now this one is available in the medic class and can be unlocked in both the Storm and Optical variant. I'm going to be going through what I think is the best option with this gun, the playstyle you should adopt, and why I think right now it is the best gun in the game. Now I'm not just saying this to get views on a video or to start some sort of hype train. I actually believe this opinion is shared by a lot of people. It is by far and away the best gun to be using right now, especially with the changes to the movement system in Battlefield 1. Now I haven't scripted this video, I'm not going to be doing any massive statistical analysis, although I will link some Symantec posts and place a few screenshots to talk about it just a little bit. But I'm more going to be showing you some gameplay in the background and talking you through why I think this gun is the best. And you guys will probably have to unlock it yourselves in order to try it out and give me an opinion. Some of you might have already unlocked it. If you've watched my stream, you probably worked out that it wasn't hard to unlock at all, well, the Storm variant that is. The Optical variant requires you to get some headshots with the Storm variant. It can be pretty tricky if you're not playing all that much, because headshots, you know, unless you're a god at aiming, it's going to take some time. Nonetheless, I think it's a fantastic weapon to start things off, and then you move over to the Optical and you'll see why this gun is so damn good. So as I said, we'll take a quick look at Symantec, but nothing too in-depth. In terms of damage over distance, and I think this is a really important one when playing in the medic class, because you're not always going to be close up to players, sometimes you want to have a bit of distance. As you see with the gameplay in the background, I'm not always in the face of an enemy. Sometimes I like to keep my distance, keep myself some cover away from the centre of an objective, kind of on the edge, and make sure that I'm doing damage to enemies, killing them, and then running in, picking up friendlies, that sort of stuff. Now, the Farquhar Hill will do 42 damage up to 34 meters. That means it's a 3-shot kill in that kind of close-ish range. That's really impressive. I mean, a 3-shot kill on a gun that has a fairly large magazine of 20, you're going to be doing a lot of damage to multiple enemies, especially if they're grouped up. You'll see playing on operations or front lines that this gun can pull off some big multi-kills, far more than the autoloading 8.35 can. The reload does slow you down a little bit, as it's fairly long, but not really that long. I mean, 3 seconds, 3.2 seconds, I can deal with that, especially if I've got an Obrez as a secondary to pull out and maybe finish a guy off with a chest shot, or if I'm pulling out from a stop. It doesn't really matter what pistol you use. You might be finding yourself using that, but only to the same extent with other weapons in the game. Now after 34 meters, the drop-off goes slowly down to 30 over 52 meters. Now this turns the weapon into a 4-shot kill, but it doesn't drop off from there. It's a 4-shot kill infinitely, which is really impressive. If you're counter sniping, and obviously when counter sniping quite often you're headshotting because the sniper's prone, it can be quite effective. The gun's fairly stable, I find, as long as you don't spam it, which again we'll get onto a little bit later. That's a problem I have with weapons, I tend to spam them. But if you don't spam it, it can be mega effective. Now again, the bullet to kill, this is a straight correlation to the damage over distance. You're looking at a 3-bullet kill up to around 37 meters, 38 meters-ish. And then after that, it's a 4-bullet kill. If you play in hardcore mode, that's of course a 2-bullet kill moving to a 3-bullet kill, but I'm not too sure how many people play hardcore mode. It kind of changes the whole meta up if you do play hardcore mode only. Although this gun would probably still be fairly effective. A big thing for me that makes this gun so damn effective is its magazine size of 20. You have a weapon that can 3-shot or at most 4-shot somebody, and with a 20 round magazine, that is what, 5-6 people you're going to be taking down, assuming you're not getting collats. If you're getting collaterals, you can be taking a whole load of people down with a magazine. Not many weapons in the medic class can offer you that with the stability that this gun has. Now the fire rate is low, 257 rounds per minute. That is low, but as you'll see in the background here, you tend to hit more shots. And the gameplay does show it, you are hitting more shots because you're taking your time and you can't really spam the gun so much. The biggest mistake I made, as I said before, I was going to talk about it, the biggest mistake I made is trying to hit somebody in the distance and spamming left mouse button to fire as many bullets as possible. Now sometimes it'll work, sometimes you'll manage the recoil, you'll manage to reset the gun's position, especially if you hit your first shot as a headshot and you'll take the guy out in 3 or 4 bullets. But if you miss your first couple of shots and you continue to spam, it's more down to luck whether you hit them. So for me, the best option when using this gun is to take your time, make sure you hit your first shot. If you do miss it, take your time, let the gun reset, let the recoil reset, hit your next shot, hit your next shot. Try and get headshots because it is an absolute beast if you can get headshots. As are most guns in this game, of course, the damage increases. But it can be a real machine at that sort of mid-range against pretty much any gun in the game. Now, when comparing the Storm and the optical variant, I will just say straight off that I prefer the optical. Whether this is down to statistics, whether it's down to any of that stuff, personally the optical feels far better for me. I get more kills, I'm more accurate, I feel as if it's suitable for the range that I like to play at with the medic. If I'm playing aggressive and I'd rather get in the faces of enemies, I'd probably go to the 8.25, maybe the Fedorov. I don't really think that the Farquhar Hill really does enough at close range, although it is still effective. So looking at the Storm versus the optical, I've got some screenshots for you right now. The advantages of the Farquhar Hill Storm: less upward recoil, less recoil to the left, and less recoil to the right. It's the Storm variant, you'd expect it maybe to be better at closer range stuff. Advantages of the optical: less spread when not moving, a significant reduction in spread when moving, this is ADS'd, and significantly less spread increased per shot. Basically, this means you're going to be getting less spread when ADS'd shooting into the distance. Obviously, as an optical variant, it's going to be far more suitable for shooting targets at range. These statistics prove that as well, but again, if you're not the type of person who looks at statistics, I know a lot of people don't, because why would you? Just play with a gun, see if it does the job for you. If it does, if it feels good, if it matches your playstyle, then go for it. And the Farquhar Hill optical really does that for me, far better than the Storm for my playstyle. Now obviously there are a lot of equal stats between the Storm and the optical: maximum damage, minimum damage, fire rate, magazine size, all this stuff. Again, the link to Simthix in the description down below. This stuff is all the same between the guns, so don't worry about it. The biggest difference between the two is the way that the bullets behave after you've fired them. So there's a bit more spread on the Storm, and I believe it's slightly better at closer range, but the optical is still suitable at close range and completely dominates the Storm at mid to long range engagements, which is where you really want to be using this weapon if possible. Now, if we compare the Farquhar Hill optical to my other favourite medic weapon, the Autoloading 8.25 Extended, we will just take a quick look at this and work out why it is so much better in my opinion. The main thing is the damage. The optical, or the Farquhar Hill optical, will do 42 damage compared to 38 with the Autoloading 8.25 Extended. That is the maximum damage. The minimum damage is 30 for the Farquhar Hill and only 21 for the Autoloading 8, meaning that you are going to be looking at a 5-shot kill with the Autoloading. That is a massive difference. I know you can fire the Autoloading 8.25 faster. It has a 359 RPM, which is 40% faster than the Farquhar Hill, so you can spam it. And again, I think this is why I really enjoy it at the closer range stuff, because you can just fire more bullets. You're hitting more of your target if you fire more bullets, in my opinion, unless you have the god aim, you know, where you hit all 3 bullets in a row. You're firing more bullets, you're hitting more of the target. I believe that the Farquhar Hill optical is more suitable, even with its lower fire rate, just because it has the accuracy required and the damage. It hits like an absolute train, this thing, and will just smash enemies out of the way. So I thought I'd go through a little bit of footage. I was playing on Suez and having a lot of fun with this gun. Unfortunately, our team was getting smashed, but it did give me an opportunity to try my best with this gun to pull it back. So I was trying to be as aggressive as possible and clearing enemies off the flag. Now, as you can tell, Suez is one of these closer range sort of maps where it's quite difficult to control your engagements, because as you tell, you push a corner and there's just a guy standing there with an automatic or a shotgun. So you find, well, I find it quite difficult trying to get myself a position where I can stay still for maybe 30 seconds and pick off enemies. I'm always rushing around, using the minimap as well to find enemies. Usually when you find one enemy, there are multiple, because they obviously spawn on each other, revive each other, that sort of stuff. Now the Farquhar Hill optical performed well. It really did box out of its league just a little bit, because I wouldn't expect it to be good at this closer range stuff. It's more of a mid to long range weapon in my opinion. I wasn't using the Storm, I was using the optical, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to find it difficult at close range against a team that was doing really well. As you can tell, this was a good team. They were pushing us back, and eventually they won the game. Obviously only a minute or so left on the timer, so they didn't complete arming the MCOMs or anything, but they did win. And I still felt like this gun was holding its own. So I'm not the best infantry player in the world, but if I can get a fairly good score with something, I tend to think, well, that's a good gun for the masses, because I'm not the best player, certainly not the worst player, and kind of the average player, you know. So if it works for me, it's probably going to work for a lot of other people. I also know that players such as Nickel, you guys know this dude, he is an insane Battlefield player, and Scannic as well. two players that I watch their videos because I think they're great players, fantastic aim. They love this gun. I don't think they post all that much, but you can find them on YouTube and really see what this gun is capable of, although the gameplay in the background now isn't awful. Getting a lot of players taken out. As well, using this Obrez, I don't really get an opportunity to use it then, but and then I run past a guy who was spotted, because obviously I'm a bit blind, but I do think this gun is appropriate for this closer range stuff, although you might want to switch up to something else. Maybe you're a fan of the Fedorov or the 8.25. Looking at something slightly longer range, although there are a few close range engagements in this little clip. We're playing a Monty Grappa, we're pushing the enemy back this time, as often happens when you push this side. I think it's far too imbalanced, this map, to one side, but nonetheless, it's a good opportunity for you to see what the gun's capable of at kind of close to mid and then a bit of long range, so it's got the whole lot in this clip. Now, I'm playing with my squad, we're pushing to Alpha Flag, and we're trying to keep this little high ground on the left-hand side. I think that's the most important spot, and as you see, as I push over here, that's the damage I'm talking about. 20 rounds, unfortunately I missed my first few shots there, and I have to get a reload in, but 20 rounds, you are smashing through enemies. I have to go pick up a squad mate here. I'm not too sure what he's doing wrapping around the side. It's not a smart move to go down to that side. You really want to keep the top half of the map here, especially if you get pushed back. It makes it far easier to retreat to the next flag. High ground is important, right? So you need to make sure that you keep that, especially using a gun like this. As you can see, I get back up on the rock here. I'm going to be going prone and keeping the angles limited to the enemies, but just spotting them. And as you can tell, this gun, even I'm missing a lot of shots here. I do get taken out, but you can see how it hits. This gun absolutely destroys enemies at that sort of range. So the final clip I want to take a look at was from Argonne Forest. I played about 5-6 games with this gun in order to get some clips, trying to really showcase what it was capable of. Some anti-tank mines, not really too sure what they're doing there, but shoot those. And again, we're against a team that was doing a lot of good work against us, so we were struggling to get on the flag, and I'm not really too proud of the fact that I'm not on Bravo flag here, but I feel as if you're off the flag on front lines and you're taking people out who are on the flag, as long as you're taking out more than one, because obviously that balances the game. If you're not on the flag, you take out one guy, it equals it out. As long as you're taking out multiple enemies, you're doing your team a good favour. As you can tell, the flag starts to turn for a little bit as we've taken out all those guys. This is what it really excels at, being on a ledge, a bit of high ground at this sort of distance. Again, if you're shooting enemies that aren't shooting back, that's always perfect. Any gun's going to seem great doing that. But as you can tell, it was really performing well at this sort of range. Again, this enemy team was smashing us. They're all over the flag, they're behind us. I push up, I miss a guy on my right. But as you can tell, the damage it was doing was quite impressive at that mid-range. So overall, what I'd say with this gun is definitely unlock it, unlock the Storm, unlock the Optical and try it. In my opinion, it's the best medic gun by far. I can't see me going back to anything else. Even the Fedorov, which is a gun I haven't really used too much, but I've seen people wreck with, isn't a gun that I want, because this Farquhar Hill Optical does everything I need. It's also got a really nice skin on it as well that I unlocked immediately, which I think does add a little bit, makes you feel like a little bit individual, because the customization is lacking in BF1, but it's nice to have the odd skin. I feel teamed with an Obrez medic pouch, obviously, and an incendiary grenade is the best medic loadout you can possibly use at this moment in time. A little bit pay to win by DICE. I think maybe you don't really want to have to get the DLC in order to get the best weapon, but nonetheless, you can pick up the DLC cheap in some of the sales. They'll definitely be cheap over this Christmas period. Let me know in the comments if you use this weapon and what you think of it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.